Once upon a time, in a village nestled between the gentle shoulders of two great mountains, there lived a young man named Leo. He was 24 years old, with eyes that held storms of disappointment and hands that seemed cursed to let every good thing slip through their grasp. The village was a picture of tranquility, a place where cherry blossoms dusted the river in spring and ancient maple trees blazed with fire in the autumn, but Leo had no peace to appreciate it. His heart was a frantic, tangled knot of haste and frustration. You see, Leo believed he was a failure. He had tried his hand at many things: woodworking, where his impatient cuts ruined fine planks of oak; farming, where he dug up his seeds too soon to check if they had sprouted; even love, where his eagerness had scared away the quiet, kind-eyed girl from the next valley. With every setback, the knot within him tightened. His struggle was not with laziness, but with its opposite, a desperate, frantic urgency. He wanted success, peace, and mastery to bloom instantly, and every passing day they did not was a personal condemnation. He would lie awake at night, his mind racing, replaying every mistake, every almost, until the weight of his own expectations felt like a physical stone upon his chest. One afternoon, after a particularly disheartening attempt to fix his leaking roof had resulted in a larger hole and a bruised ego, Leo could take no more. He stormed out of his small cottage and walked, without any destination, toward the higher slopes of the eastern mountain. The air grew cooler, filled with the scent of pine and damp earth. He walked until the noise of his own thoughts was drowned out by the whisper of the wind through the trees and the distant song of a lone skylark. It was there, in a sun-dappled clearing that overlooked the entire valley, that he found an old man tending a most peculiar field. The man's back was bent with age, but his movements were slow, deliberate, and full of a strange grace. His name was Elias, and he was known in the village as the quiet farmer of the high mountain. What was peculiar was his crop. One part of the field was a vibrant emerald green, with young shoots of rice dancing in the breeze. But the larger part of the field was bare, dark earth, from which only a few lonely green spikes had emerged. Elias looked up, his face a map of wrinkles carved by sun and smiles. His eyes, the color of a calm sky, held Leo's stormy gaze without flinching. "You seem to be carrying a heavy load, son," he said, his voice as rough and warm as tree bark. Leo let out a bitter sigh, the sound swallowed by the vastness of the mountain. "I am failing at everything, sir. Nothing I plant grows. Nothing I build lasts. I feel like I am running as fast as I can, but I am only sinking deeper into the sand." Elias nodded slowly, as if he had heard this story many times before. He gestured toward the two halves of his field. "I see. You are a farmer of your own life, but you are disappointed with your harvest." "There is no harvest," Leo exclaimed, his voice cracking with emotion. "Look at your field. Even yours is only half successful. Why do you even bother with that barren half?" A gentle smile touched the old man's lips. "The harvest is not the only purpose of the field, young man. The purpose is the cultivation. I am not bothered by the empty earth, for I know what sleeps beneath it. Tell me, what is it you want most?" "I want to be successful. I want to be at peace," Leo said, the words tumbling out. "I want to know that my efforts mean something." "Then," said Elias, "I have a task for you. For the next year you will come here once a week. Your only job will be to carry water from the mountain spring and tend to this part of my field." He pointed to the bare, seemingly barren section of land. Leo's heart sank. It seemed like pointless labor, a cruel joke. "Tend to dirt? There's nothing there." "You will carry the water," Elias repeated, his tone leaving no room for argument. "You will pour it gently, at the base of the few green spikes you see. You will watch for weeds and remove them. You will do nothing more and nothing less. Do you agree?" Desperate for any guidance, any thread of hope, Leo reluctantly nodded. "I agree." And so his task began. The first few weeks were torture for Leo. Every Saturday, he would make the long climb up the mountain, a heavy wooden bucket in each hand. He would fill them at the icy spring, his muscles burning with the strain, and then trudge to the field. He would pour the water onto the dark, unyielding earth, watching it soak in without a trace. He saw no change, no progress. The few green spikes grew, but imperceptibly slowly. The rest of the field remained stubbornly bare. "This is a waste of time," he complained to Elias one day after a month of this ritual. "I am pouring my energy into nothing. I am doing the same thing, over and over, expecting a different result. It's madness." Elias, who was patiently weaving a basket from willow reeds, did not look up. "Is the sun mad for rising each morning?" he asked. "Is the river mad for flowing to the sea? They are not expecting a different result, Leo. They are simply being what they are and doing what they must. The result is not their concern. It is the commitment that holds the power." Leo fell silent, the words seeping into him slowly. He continued his task, but something began to shift. The burning frustration in his chest started to cool. The climb was no longer a chore, but a time to feel the strength in his legs and the sun on his neck. The sound of the water splashing onto the earth became a peaceful rhythm, a meditation. He stopped staring at the ground, willing something to appear, and instead began to notice the world around him. The industrious march of ants, the way the light changed through the canopy of leaves, the slow, deliberate dance of the seasons. He stopped measuring his life in grand successes and failures, and started measuring it in full buckets carried, in weeds gently pulled, in the quiet companionship of the old farmer. He learned to sit in silence without his thoughts screaming at him. One bright morning, after the winter snows had melted and the air was soft with the promise of spring, Leo made his weekly climb. He approached the field, his mind calm, his body strong. He set his buckets down and looked at the patch of earth he had tended for nearly a full year. And he stopped, his breath catching in his throat. The barren field was no longer barren. Overnight, it seemed, the earth had erupted in a forest of thick, green shoots. Dozens, no hundreds of them, strong and vibrant, reaching for the sky. They were a type of bamboo, he realized, a special, slow-growing species Elias had planted. He stood there, utterly stunned, as Elias came to stand beside him. "How?" Leo whispered, his eyes wide with awe. "How did this happen? I saw nothing for so long." Elias placed a gnarled hand on Leo's shoulder. "This particular bamboo," the old man explained softly, "spends its first years growing not upward, but downward. It is building a root system so deep, so strong, so vast and intricate, that when it is finally ready to rise, no storm can ever knock it down. While you saw nothing on the surface, a small miracle was happening beneath the earth. All that time, it was not dormant. It was patient. It was building its foundation. Your water, your care, your patience did not go to waste. You were feeding a hidden strength." In that moment, a dam broke inside Leo. The tangled knot in his heart, the one made of haste and frustration, finally loosened and fell away. He saw his entire life reflected in that bamboo field. His failed attempts at woodworking were not failures. They were him building the roots of discipline. His abandoned farm was not a waste. It was him learning the rhythm of the earth. His lost love was not an ending. It was him deepening his understanding of his own heart. Every struggle, every seemingly fruitless effort had been strengthening his foundation, making him resilient, teaching him the very patience he had so desperately lacked. He had not been failing. He had been growing roots. Tears, not of sadness but of profound relief, streamed down his face. For the first time in his life, he felt a deep, unshakable peace. The frantic urgency was gone, replaced by a quiet, steady confidence. He understood now that the most beautiful transformations, the strongest growth, often happen unseen, in the quiet, dark soil of perseverance. Leo returned to his village a changed man. He approached his work with a new calmness, no longer obsessed with the harvest, but dedicated to the daily cultivation. He found that peace was not a destination to be reached, but a manner of traveling. And in time, his life blossomed in ways he could never have rushed, built upon a foundation of patience that was now as deep and as strong as the mountain itself. The moral of this story is that society often celebrates the visible bloom, the overnight success, the bamboo shoot that skyrockets skyward. But we must remember that the true work, the work that matters most, usually happens in the silence and the darkness, in the consistent, patient nurturing of our dreams and our character. Do not curse the seasons of your life when you see no growth. Trust that you are, even now, growing roots. Water your passions, tend to your spirit, pull the weeds of doubt, and have faith in the slow, unseen work of time. Your spring will come. If this story resonated with you, please support our channel by giving the video a like and subscribing for more tales to light your path. Share your thoughts on patience in the comments below, and share this story with someone who needs a reminder to trust their journey. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay peaceful.